The journey took me to a lot of great guitarists. I thought if I've only got 6 months, I may as well use the fact that I'm a music journalist and try and use some of my connections to get some lessons of great guitarists. And the first one was Johnny Marr from the Smiths, who's a brilliant guitarist. And I had only been playing for a month when I went to see him, which, if you think about it, it's not very good, because if you've only been playing for a month, you just about learn the chord of D and the chord of E. You don't get a lesson off one of the greatest guitarists in Britain. But I tried anyway. And what quickly happened was what happened a lot of the time, actually. There's a thing about guitarists, they like to show off, and they like to show you the amazing things they can do. Now, even though Johnny Marr was one of the most celebrated guitarists in Britain, when I went up to Manchester to meet him, the first thing he did was start showing off as if he was a 12-year-old, showing his mum what he could do. He basically wanted to show me the amazing riffs that he could do, and he played Iggy Pop riffs, Stooges riffs, the kind of things that he first learned. But he did manage to show me a couple of things, but mainly he was showing off. But that was wonderful anyway, because I liked all his enthusiasm, and he was very, very supportive of someone doing this, which is interesting. I thought that people would be dismissive that a guy in his 30s wanted to pick up guitar for the first time and was asking them for a lesson, but no, they loved it. So I went to see Johnny Marr. I took off to America to travel around the Deep South in search of the blues and in search of the guitar's roots, which is really in country music and the blues, even though it came from Spain originally, but it was in America that it blossomed. And in Florida, I met Roger McGuinn of the Byrds, and he taught me how to play 8 Miles High just before a hurricane hit his house, and he was travelling up to New York, driving all the way to New York. It was about 24 hours to escape from this hurricane. I escaped from the hurricane too, and I went to Nashville. I didn't really meet anyone there, but in Memphis I met some of the old rock and roll guitarists, a guy called Roland James, who played with the Rock and Roll Trio, and he played with all kinds of rock and roll greats. Through to the south, a 82-year-old guitarist called T. Model Ford, who only picked up the guitar when I think maybe his 5th wife left him when he was about 59. He was fantastic. And then down to New Orleans, where there are more blues guitarists, a guy called Sky Saxon, who's from the garage band The Seeds, who told me, you only need to learn about 3 chords, and there's not much point in doing anything else, that's enough. He actually asked me if I wanted to join The Seeds, but I said that since I'd only been playing guitar for 2.5 months then, even The Seeds might be beyond me. And who else was there? Oh, well, Bert Jansch, of course. Bert Jansch is a great British folk guitarist, and he was very important. He taught me the basics of playing Angie. And finally, I found David Graham, who was an amazing guy, but too crazy, really, to give me a normal lesson. I should say the late David Graham, who's dead now. And the lesson mainly consisted of us smoking a very, very strong joint, and his talking about the importance of understanding early music, as in music from the Renaissance period. Not much on actually learning how to play guitar, but it was very fascinating nonetheless.